Ray Concentrates Cannabis Conversations. Today's topic of discussion, CO2 extraction. Now, when you hear something like carbon dioxide extraction, something simple might come to mind, including dry ice extraction, where you use dry ice to get plant material very cold and you can shake it with hash washing bags and get light, very beautiful hash out of it. However, that is not using CO2 as a solvent. That is using CO2 simply as a way to keep temperatures cold, and that isn't what your carts are made out of, if that's what you're thinking CO2 extracted carts are. CO2 extracted carts are actually made with an amazing technology called super and subcritical extraction. Now, what is that? That sounds pretty intense, and I tell you what, it is. It uses something simple. We breathe it out every day. You never think of it as a solvent necessarily, and it's not. At atmospheric conditions, it acts as CO2x, carbon dioxide, not something that you want to be around at high parts per million, but it is a naturally occurring gas, nothing too crazy, not really associated with a solvent. But if you put it under enough pressure, it can change from a gas to something with the properties of gas and liquid, but is neither. And that is supercritical mass. Now, that is an amazing state of matter where you can actually polarize CO2 gas and liquid and supercritical, if you will, and use it to pull out compounds. Now, this originally developed in Germany in the 1930s to decaffeinate coffee. Throughout history, has been used to do several types of extractions because of its not solvent-like extraction, including isolating hops and different flower and terpene profiles for botanicals, until about 2010, when it entered the realm of cannabis and people realized that you can use subcritical and supercritical states on cannabis to extract those essential oils just as easily. So with that, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what supercritical extraction is and what it can be used for. Well, first off, the plant material has to be dried. Unless you're using a co-solvent, CO2 in a supercritical or a subcritical form will pull out moisture as well, and then you're going to end up with a lot of water in your concentrate. So you have to be very careful. Make sure that if you are just using CO2 extraction, it is with dry biomass. Next, you are going to be putting that biomass into a vessel, and that vessel having CO2 supercharged ran through it at many thousands of psi, that creating supercritical CO2 or subcritical CO2, extracting out cannabinoids and terpenes based on the parameters of the machine that you're running and whether you're doing it in a supercritical or subcritical. Now, there's several different ways to utilize these machines, including what I've been speaking of, subcritical, that is a lower psi. Now, when you do this, you can do it with biomass that has not been decarboxylated to pull terpenes, or you can pull subcritical sugars in a THCA form. If you're looking to make carts, though, you are going to have to pull out that biomass, decarboxylate it, and then rerun it at supercritical parameters to extract oil, crude, and then go through the process of winterization and filtration, making sure to remove excess lipids, and then refining it and using vacuum distillation to refine the oil to a pure CO2 oil, containing a great profile of the flower strain specifically. After the subcritical and supercritical extraction, terpenes and cannabinoids are formulated and vapes are created. They are put into different cartridges, all-in-ones, 510s, you name it. The oil will pretty much run through it as long as the parameters were set well and you did a great extraction. Thanks for tuning in, and more to come with more Ray Concentrates Cannabis Conversations. God bless and ganja.